I think it's only a matter of time until you can perform those other functions, lend, borrow, provide liquidity to facilitate trading, these types of things, which also enhance your returns.
Yeah.
Right. So by making it composable, now you can actually boost your return on top in a fundamental way.
Yeah.
And so I don't think, smart money is going to leave that on the table once they understand the mechanics.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be showing you all some more level-headed, in-depth research that is going to prove our point as to why we firmly believe that now is the time for everybody to start learning how to generate yield on your digital assets through the utilization of DeFi. Physically showing you guys proof that some of the world's largest organizations, consulting firms, government entities, lawyers are sitting in on these closed door meetings with individual representatives from Ripple discussing and talking about DeFi capabilities and the regulatory requirements in order for this financial transformation to really come into fruition. So without further ado, let's dive into today's video breakdown. Make sure that you stick around for the entirety of today's video because we are going to be getting into some really good video clips from both Marcus Enfinger and David Schwartz. Actually, as a matter of fact, that's where we're going to start. We've heard in most recent panel discussions, David Schwartz mentioned that he believes that we are at a tipping point, a mass adoption of institutional DeFi, and that the XRPL's focus is on enterprise DeFi.
Tremendously exciting. I feel like we really are on the cusp of a mass institutional adoption, both of DeFi, and of other blockchain technologies.
Yeah, so we've been doing two things. Ripple's sort of philosophy is that the next growth phase for blockchains is around enterprise DeFi.
Right? And in this previous video breakdown, we were on a mission to show you guys that not only are DeFi regulations starting to come into fruition, we went over documents, and this actually got a lot of impressions. So it shows us that you guys are really enjoying this type of in-depth research. We went over documents from the INATBA. We also went over documents like this one right here, where it goes on to talk about the SFC out of Hong Kong, talk about yield generation in their documents through staking, so on and so forth. You guys can see here, this is the Securities and Futures Commission in Hong Kong. This is their regulatory roadmap for virtual assets. So we're going to continue to pick up where we left off. And so in the previous video breakdown, we talked about this INATBA document where we physically proved that they are delivering lessons and educational, content to these individuals that are attending these events where they can earn rewards for going through these educational lessons. And now that's going to play an important role in today's video breakdown when we take a look at some recent closed door meetings that took place. So this was a post on LinkedIn by Giuseppe Maria, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, Group Deputy CISO for Confidential Banking Institution. He posted here, last week, I had the opportunity to participate into roundtables on blockchain and sustainability and digital asset regulation via experts at the EU Commission, organized by a whole bunch of industry-leading experts, as I mentioned, from consulting firms, lawyers, individuals involved in the compliance space. I mean, this is a huge, massive list of participating individuals. So I just want to fixate your attention on a few. Now, to show you guys what this is about, interdisciplinary brainstorming was mind-blowing, sparkling new enlightening ideas thanks to a contribution of top industry experts in the European and blockchain sector, both from a technical and regulatory perspective. They talked about innovative technologies and how their intrinsically complex topics require cross-sector competence and multidisciplinary teams. EU institutions are aware of complexities of digital assets and regulatory requirements, aspects with regulatory requirements, drafting, enabling seamless implementation and concrete application. And they mentioned, I just want to highlight for you guys, DeFi, crypto regulation, Web3, blockchain, sustainability. They obviously, of course, tag Micah and Dora. right? And you can see just some of the pictures from this event. Again, what I'm trying to show you guys is real in-depth research, not this Hopia Moonboy hype that's out there. This is the real in-depth research that the mainstream is never going to cover. So they're talking about DeFi. You have these highly reputable individuals sitting in on this closed door meeting. I've already shown you guys how David Schwartz has mentioned their focus is on enterprise DeFi and that he believes we are at an inflection point via institutional DeFi adoption. Check this out. This just goes to further back my case as to why you all need to be paying attention to DeFi and earning yield on your digital assets. Let's look at who attended this event. We have Mariana de la Rocha Wills, we have Annie Grace, and we have Shada Attendees, probably butchering that one, and we have Maria oh, I'm going to butcher that one too. Anyways, we're going to click on these people's names. I apologize if any of those individuals ever listen to this. Sorry, I completely butchered your name. So this first individual, okay, we're going to click on her profile. Let's just go check out her credentials. Again, everything is interconnected, and that's something that you have to understand. This is a brand new infrastructure being built out. These partnerships, these people that are sitting on their closed door meetings, they've either worked at previous interconnected institutions or they currently work at them now. So Mariana, we go look at, she's the board of directors at this organization right now called Black Vogel. And prior to that, she was a member board of directors at the INATBA, the International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications. Okay, so that's one individual that attended this event. We also have this individual, Maria del Seguro, again, probably butchered that, sorry. She also attended this event. You can see here, Blockchain for Sustainability Roundtable. And right down here, she also tags the INATBA, okay? And so again, the reason why I'm trying to get you guys to see this stuff is because if we full circle this, we covered this in a document in a previous video breakdown where we showed you all, they are specifically talking about a DeFi, okay? You can see here, redefining learning, education is at a turning point. You guys seeing this, right? I'm trying to physically show you all why you should be learning about DeFi. They are teaching this stuff behind the scenes. Decentralized platforms and how they can empower students to take control of their education. Learn to earn can drive engagement, all right? These are the same people that just sat in on this closed door meeting, right? And who else do we have here? We also have Shada Attendees. Well, if we come over here to his LinkedIn profile, we click on his profile, okay? We can see clear as day that he is an associate at RippleX, right? And then it also mentions in his bio, institutional DeFi, okay? Do you guys remember, if we come over here, do you remember who Marcus Infinger is? Marcus Infinger is the SVP of RippleX, right? And just a couple of months ago, he talked about he is excited for XRPL development so that users can start to put their liquidity to work.
Next from XRP Ledger, what's on your roadmap?
Yeah, so there's some amazing stuff happening. So first of all, an automated market maker has been released very recently and voted in by the community. That one's going live. Which will obviously also be a native feature on the protocol, which brings more security and user safety and allows users to basically, put their liquidity to work.
So we have the SVP of RippleX months ago saying that that's something that he's excited for. And we have individuals from RippleX sitting in on these closed door meetings where they're discussing and talking about DeFi and regulations. People, you cannot make this stuff up. At the same exact roundtable where individuals from the INATBA are sitting in on, and I just showed you guys in previous documents that the INATBA is literally talking about students earning yield by taking these classes with learn to earn and teach to earn education, right? And on the post, they're literally telling you all education is at a turning point, okay? Nobody's putting this information together in a way for you all to pick it up. I'm physically showing you guys documented research that this is happening from reputable sources. This is not Twitter X hype or YouTube hype. This is documented research physically showing you guys that these conversations and this educational turning point is literally happening right before our very eyes, which is again why you should get involved, either by joining a mentorship program, going through the educational process and learning about this through that way, or taking it upon yourself to do this collective research on your own time. Now is the time for you to get involved. Again, you do not have to go out there and risk your digital assets to learn about this stuff, to learn about DeFi and the opportunities that are going to be readily available to us in the near future. All right. So since we're on the topic of Marcus Infinger, just to full circle all of this, him and David Schwartz just 3 days ago, I don't know if this actually took place live 3 days ago, but Ripple on their YouTube profile posted this video of David Schwartz and Marcus Infinger giving their predictions for 2025 in blockchain and DeFi, which at the beginning of this video breakdown, I showed you guys, David Schwartz said on a CoinDesk interview that that's exactly what he thinks is at an inflection point, institutional adoption of DeFi and the adoption of blockchains, right? So let's just take a second and listen to some of the things that they mentioned in this, which just goes to, again, solidify that people with many more credentials than I myself in the Ripple ecosystem are literally telling you guys right in front of your face what is taking place with institutional adoption of DeFi. So first, we're going to play this video breakdown where Marcus Infinger talks about DeFi as a power tool, and he also mentions the EVM sidechain and XLR acting as the bridge mechanism for the EVM sidechain.
Yeah, this is such an important topic, and obviously we're very much a friend of this prediction. So I firmly agree that if we want to improve how the financial system works, interoperability is so key. So we don't recreate kind of like the same friction through fragmentations like we're suffering from in the legacy system, particularly given that there's a clear trend towards a multi-chain world. And so also here, just want to call out, pretty excited about the work we're doing with our partner XLR. And so we're already seeing this at play really with the XRPL integrating, with XLR. That in turn, with this cross-chain protocol, will integrate over 55 blockchains. And also the XRPL EVM sidechain that's set to launch in due course with this bridging technology. And so if you think about it, it's such a powerful tool for DeFi because it aggregates liquidity from multiple chains. And allows really tokenized assets to move pretty much freely between them, really unlocking the friction of fragmented system that we are experiencing in the legacy financial infrastructure over time.
Now, I want you to pay attention to what he said, Marcus Infinger, because we've been very big advocates of trying to show you all that in previous cycles, DeFi brought utility to ETH.
Years ago, DeFi actually brought utility to ETH, right? Now, if you're holding ETH, you can lend it, you can borrow, you can stake, you can do so many things.
And Marcus Infinger just talked about how this gives the XRPL a new set of powerful DeFi tools, okay? Now, we've also been advocates of telling you guys that last bull market cycles, the XRPL didn't really have a sound DeFi ecosystem. That is all changing for the first time ever. People, honestly, in my opinion, outside of just XRP being utilized for cross-border payments and that whole entire niche category of XRP and the XRP army, put that aside for just 1 second and understand that one of the biggest assets, one of the top 10 assets, has been in the top 10 literally since its inception, is about to have and unlock DeFi opportunities on it for the first time. Like, that's so crazy and mind-blowing. We're about to be able to earn yield on our XRP, stake it, lend it, borrow against it, freaking enter liquidity pools with it. I mean, we can do that now. However, the space is a little shaky and the DeFi opportunities on the XRP ecosystem are kind of still a little, they haven't really been around too long. TVL isn't really too significant just quite yet to trust them. They need a little bit more longevity in this space before I feel completely comfortable, risking my XRP, but still it is being built out. And that is the ground layer foundation. You need to understand here that opportunity is about to be available to you. And it will only be available to the people that know how to do it, which is why we are suggesting that you guys start to educate yourself on DeFi. Okay. It's not just about hodling anymore, putting in your cold storage and just setting and forgetting and just walking away and coming back later on in the year and being a multi-millionaire. No, it's about how can you make multi-millions and keep those multi-millions in the digital realm, in this new digital economy, consistently making you passive income. All right. Mindset shift. So Marcus Infinger talking about new DeFi power tools coming to the XRPL. Listen to what David Schwartz here kind of backing what Marcus Infinger says, which just also confirms what we said to you guys last year about the XRPL not having a DeFi ecosystem. Now for the first time that has changed.
The XRP ledger historically has operated kind of an intermediate place. It's more functional than Bitcoin, but not quite as functional as Ethereum, and more targeted towards specific enterprise and institutional use cases, more targeted towards the dominant industry use cases.
So you have David Schwartz just talking about how it's better than Bitcoin, but it's not as effective as Ethereum, which just goes to prove my point. What we told you guys, DeFi brought utility to ETH. You have to understand what's about to happen now that DeFi is coming to the XRPL and XRP holders, along with the slew of clients via Ripple that are institutional clients that are also interested in the utilization of DeFi and generating yield through digital assets, right? Pay attention to what David Schwartz here says.
Proposed vision for XRPL programmability to add more flexibility to the XRP ledger with native smart contracts and extensions to existing functionality. And we're seeing the stage for a more versatile DeFi ecosystem.
We are seeing the stage set for a more versatile DeFi ecosystem. This is huge, and hardly anybody's paying attention to it. Everybody's still stuck in the mindset before 2022, which was just a hodl, hold tight, long term, this, and that. That is all changing. Obviously, of course, that still has to be a certain portion of our portfolio via the strategy diversification that we partake in. But now it's all about earning yield. How can you put your idle digital assets to work for you to generate you passive income? And there's so many different strategies for you to do so. Keeping in mind, in the same conversation, this is the last video clip that I'll play for you guys because this video is now going on. Listen to Marcus Infinger talk about lending and borrowing. Take a second here and listen.
If you achieve certain of level of interoperability, it will frankly create more robust markets at large, right? Be expanding liquidity pool. We can make tokenized real world assets and DeFi assets more accessible, reducing things like fragmentation, enabling cross-chain lending, borrowing, trading.
Just to reiterate some things that we previously mentioned to you guys, you just heard Marcus Infinger, SVP of RippleX, who I just showed you all, sitting in on these closed door meetings of these regulators, consulting firms, lawyers, discussing and talking about DeFi and regulations.
Cross-chain lending, borrowing, trading.
And what did that institutional representative say on stage just a couple of weeks ago about smart money?
And I think you look at a market that's north of 10 trillion of assets. It's all paper.
Yeah.
There's really no digitization, blockchain or otherwise. And so I think it's only a matter of time until you can perform those other functions, lend, borrow, provide liquidity to facilitate trading, these types of things, which also enhance your returns.
Yeah.
Right. So by making it composable, now you can actually boost your return on top in a fundamental way.
Yeah.
And so I don't think, smart money is going to leave that on the table once they understand the mechanics.
Yeah.
You see how this type of research really truly does full circle. As always, bringing you guys the realest information out there. Smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. We're not here to tell you guys to go out there and get involved in DeFi. We completely understand that some people are not willing to take the risk to expose their digital assets to the DeFi ecosystem to start generating yield yet. That's not the purpose here. The purpose here is to show you guys that this is happening. The educational foundation that you lay for yourself now is an absolute must, because these institutions, these organizations are sitting in on these closed door roundtables talking about the same things that we now have equal access to. And that is through the utilization of DeFi, real world asset tokenization, being able to tokenize real estate and participate in one of the most illiquid markets. It's now becoming a liquid market, a very, very liquid market with the tokenization of real estate, being able to put $100 into a multi-billion-dollar real estate property and start to generate yield with that. That is huge, absolutely huge, right? And people just are not paying attention to these things because they're so fixated on hodling. Hodling is, again, a certain portion and a way that you can go about doing things, but learning how to keep and maintain your wealth after this next bull market cycle through the implementation of DeFi into a strategy for yourself is key education, okay? So as always, bring you guys the realest research and information. Smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Many blessings to you guys. And with that being said, remember, none of this is financial advice. And I'm telling you guys to go out there and get involved, buy XRP, buy XR, none of that stuff. Just do your research. You guys can always visit CYPRXtrading.com if you want to tap into any of this type of non-mainstream fundamental research. It's all available in our private CYPRX Discord. If you guys want to tap into the Wealth 28 Club DeFi University, you guys want to see how we are earning yield on our digital assets. Again, you guys can tap in with us in the club. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.